I think we're live. We are live. We are live on It's Time to Lead Different with Collin Dayley and Dave Clare. CD and DC. We should create like an ABBA kind of a logo, you know, where it's got the...
Yes, we should.
Yeah, we might save that for another time though.
Yeah.
Anyway, very excited for this live stream this week of It's Time to Lead Different. I'm just trying to bring it up right now. We have a question running across the screen right now, and I want to just tell you who sent the question in. And so Kevin Sheepers sent the question in, and he asked, after our last live stream last week on It's Time to Lead Different, he asked us, how do you tackle the balance between driving results and prioritizing human well-being in the workplace? Because what he suggested to us, Colin, was that so often purpose and profit are seen as competing forces rather than completing forces. But it sounds like we believe that they can go hand in hand. And so he asked if we could actually discuss that on today's live stream. So what a great, insightful question. And it is something that, you and I have discussed at length in the past, where this concept of purpose and profit being competing forces or two separate things. And, when I look at it like work safe, like, when they talk about workplace health and safety, and you go, there's work and there's being safe, or they're just working safe, It's one thing, it's one concept. So dive into this question about how do you tackle the balance between driving results and prioritizing human well-being in the workplace?
That's a really good question. And we have discussed it at length, because I think it is a fundamental, we talk about, it's a fundamental paradox, seeming paradox, that many leaders are, struggle with, especially in the West, and in North America, we had like a business ethos that says, there's a difference between, personal and business interests. And, my point of view and perspective is that there is no difference, and that it's the concepts of, purpose and profit are not mutually, distinct. They are, basically the same continuum, and, that they rise together.
Yeah.
And they're actually organizations that are, more purpose driven and more purposeful in how they organize themselves, how they consider their connection with their, with their partners and their ecosystem, and then their customers, are those that are actually more profitable in the end. And so it's not necessarily about one or the other, prioritizing one or the other. It's really about looking at what the flywheel of purpose and profit really look like, and then working at creating more momentum in your business. So deepening and expanding. And we can talk more about this as well, but what the connection of purpose is to you and your people and to your customers, and then how that then shows up in the additional service, in the additional creation or creativity innovation that you can bring to the marketplace. So that's where I would start the conversation, but it's a pretty deep question. So
yeah. So when we think about, and we run an event, actually a workshop called From Purpose to Profits, right?
Yeah.
So even when you think about that as a concept, so from purpose to profits, we believe that purpose drives the organization, right? It's why everyone comes to work every single day. And profit is an outcome or a measure of how well we're living our purpose every day, I reckon.
Right.
So when I think of the two, one is the driver and one's the outcome or the output in terms of the measurement to show how well are you. Actually, I created years ago, we should change the profit and loss statement to the purpose or lost statement.
Nice.
So are you on purpose or are you lost? So they need a new P&L, because that takes me back to the archives. That was about 8-9 years ago. I wrote this little post about how we should get rid of change the P&L statement to purpose or lost, right? Not profit or loss. And because purpose is what drives, and then profitability is the outcome. I guess one of the things that we often talk about is, the importance of purpose is there to engage, right? Yep. Engaged team members create engaged clients or customers. Engaged clients and customers is what creates profit, right? So if you want to make lots of profit, then then you need to solve lots of problems for lots of people, as we discussed last week. The thing for leaders and that to understand, and balancing the whole concept of this, how do we attack the balance between driving results and prioritizing human well-being? Well, doesn't it make sense, Collin, that if we have human beings that are well, or the more well these human beings are, the more healthier, happier they are, the more productive, the higher performance they will be, the higher the productivity and performance, there's a likelihood that they'll have higher profitability.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Right. It stands to, logic, it stands to reason, and it holds up to logic. So I 100%
what's
agree.
the opposite? Yeah, what's the opposite? I mean, like, everyone miserable at work and is often then, right? And then unhealthy and unhappy.
Yeah. That bleeds over, and you create actually unhealthy, unhappy, disjointed relationships with customers. And those then tend to be less profitable because there's more problems and challenges, and they tend not to last as long. So it is really interesting. I do think it's kind of funny if you think about one of the ways that we look at a mission as part of our becoming what we need to do, or we need to become. So as we become more purposeful and more purpose driven, we're able to actually express that, with our teams and into our marketplaces. And but you can't express something that you haven't got. So if we want to actually create well-being with our customers, we want to actually create a safe place for those customers to come do business with us, solve their problems, through our solutions. We want to actually create that sense of well-being and safety that they can trust us and that we have the authority. Then we actually need to embody that. And so that's done through the activation of purpose. And again, in my experience,
you just hit on a real cool concept, like this whole fact that, yes, you can look at between human well-being in the workplace, but that extends to the customer or client's well-being.
Absolutely.
Like where it feels safe for the client to come in and interact and build a relationship with our organization, with our brand.
Right.
And the only way to do that is to make sure that our people feel that they have a safe workplace and where they feel valued. People who feel exceptionally valued will always deliver exceptional value, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I love the way you've extended that beyond just, the humans, like the team, to the creating a safe place for your clients or your customers to interact with your business. When you look at the opposite, if we just focused on profitability, I have a few Clarisms in this space about this, which really frustrate me. This concept,
right?
But please, anyone listening to this, watching this now or later, that if your business only cares about making a profit, don't be surprised when your people only care about making a paycheck. Okay, let me say that one more time. If your business only cares about making a profit, don't be surprised when your people only care about making a paycheck, right? So if your people only care about making a paycheck, they're going to do whatever the bare minimum is to get that paycheck. No more, no less. Anything they need to do, they'll come in, do what they need to do, make themselves look busy for the day, and then they'll go home, right? Yep. When your business only cares about numbers, don't be surprised when your people feel like one of the numbers, right? And this is why this whole balancing purpose and profits, they're completing things, not competing things.
Yeah, amen. A thought just crossed my mind. I don't have a good witticism for it, but customers. So if your people are just clocking in and clocking out for a paycheck, your customers, and that's sort of the beingness of your company. Your customers are going to be naturally looking for discounts. They're going to be looking for the best price rather than the highest value, and that will always impact profitability, because they're going to be looking for cheaper, not necessarily better or the right solution for them.
Because people will always pay for value. I believe everyone has a price to value ratio, and so people are always willing to pay for value.
Right.
But when they don't receive value, what they'll try to do is commoditize your offering.
Drive down your price.
They drive it down in price. So commoditization is when the market determines what the price of your product or service is, right?
Right.
So the market determines the price of coffee beans and whatever, right? So if you want to have your offering turned into commodity, then have lousy service, have everything there. So where the customer wants to come in and says, well, based on everything,
Right.
there's no perceived value here.
Right.
No relationship. It's just your transaction. So when your value goes from relationship to transactional, then you're getting into commoditization where they're going to treat you, whether you are or not, they're going to treat you like a commodity. They're going to price shop you with everybody else.
Yep.
And of course, we all know, Colin, that the one race you don't want to win is the race to the bottom.
Yeah.
Right. It's that price war.
Yeah.
Right. So we don't want to win that one.
Right. Totally. I do think, to be, really direct for Keith and for those of you who are watching and listening too, there's been a lot of research on this. So, it's not just our pontificating here, but in our own personal experience, but the research actually shows. There's a recent Deloitte study that actually showed that 30% companies with that are purpose driven and demonstrably purpose driven are 30% more profitable than companies who are not. And retention is up by a 13 to 15%. And again, think about what that does to your bottom line when you can attract and retain a better talent. One, it doesn't cost as much to keep your team thriving and growing, but also productivity goes up. So employees, team members that are actually feel safe and secure working for you and working in your and have connected their own purpose with your purpose and vision are those that are innovative and creative and actually collaborative and are looking for ways to be of service. So and that all drops to the bottom line. So
so when you think about once again, you raised another interesting point. When people tell us, "Oh, we've run out of money," and our philosophy is quite fundamentally simple: is that no, you haven't run out of money; you've run out of ideas and innovation, and ideas and innovation come from people, not from budgets.
Yeah.
So it's a finding game, not a funding game. So either you're not finding the right people because you're not attracting the right talent to your business, or you're not retaining the right talent, because people get engaged when they're in love, right? When someone proposes to another person, they get down on bended knee. They do that because they're in love with that person usually, and that's when they get engaged, right? And so purpose is there to engage people. So how do we make people fall in love with why we do what we do? Because instead of the morning, it goes, "Gee, I can't wait to make the boss rich today," or "I can't wait to be an expendable commodity or a means to an end, Colin."
Right.
And so have a reason outside of themselves beyond a paycheck to come to work. They love the work that they get to do. They have a sense of meaningful work, right? Because I think everybody's looking for a sense of, a meaningful life or having, a sense of meaningful work. So it's our job to give them work that is meaningful, full of meaning.
Yeah. Right.
And when they do that, they can fall in love with the work that they do. And then love is the strongest of power and emotion. And then even when things are tough, they'll push through things, right? They'll find, we all know with the most powerful why, there's many hows and many whats. Right?
Yep.
We have all these people who are engaged. They're not going to get engaged by profitability. Profitability does not engage team members.
No.
But purpose does. So that purpose, those are people who love the work that they do, even when things are tough and challenging, and we've got challenging situations, clients, systems, suppliers, partners, all the ecosystem, they still find a way.
Right.
And that is what the key to profitability is, getting those ideas and innovations coming out of your people. I wish our people would think for themselves. I wish they would use their initiative. They would be accountable. Well, stop counting money and start showing accountability by creating some sense of purpose, so people know that they have something to believe in beyond making money or making you money.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I think you're spot on, Dave. And it does beg the question that you and I started having this conversation a little bit ago, but how do we define profitability in business as well?
Yeah.
Obviously, there's the bottom line profit, and as you pointed out many times, money is oxygen for business. So we need to be able to generate and create profits so that we can continue to grow and fund those initiatives and innovations that our people come up with. But in the meantime, right, isn't there maybe some softer profit objectives that we could look at, or are there other ways that we might be able to realize profit in the experience of our business? And what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, well, firstly, you know me as a word nerd. I love going back to the root and the origin of words, because I think somehow we've bastardized most words in the English language over a period of time. But when you go back to the root of the word profit, it means to make progress. Right? We've commercialized that by, you know, making it a return on investment and getting more from what you put in. You know, right. But so I remember, like, when I created the tagline for myself, if you want, or my own sense of personal purpose, which is to become the prophet. You know, my mission was to become the prophet for purpose, because I really believe when you become the prophet of your purpose, you can profit from your purpose. And a prophet is a inspired teacher, leader of a cause or calling, right? And purpose is obviously why people do what they do, and then how you profit from it is you make progress from leading, living, and loving your purpose every day. And so how can we help our team members profit from being a part of our organization, that, you know, creating this sense of belonging here where they want to be here for a long time, Collin, that they can go, wow, I'm making progress in my life, in my career, in, you know, who I am as a person. I'm profiting from being a part of this community, a part of this tribe, a part of this organization. Am I also making a paycheck or fair and reasonable amount for my trade of time for money? Sure. But am I profiting from it? Am I getting other experiences? Am I getting to learn new things? Am I, you know, are your clients profiting from being part of your community? Are your strategic partners? Are your suppliers? You know, profit is, we always think straight away that it's a dollar value or a percentage, right? If you go back to the word profit, it means to make progress. Okay. And so is everyone in our ecosystem making progress? And as I allude to it, like our suppliers, our strategic partners, our clients, our team members, our community that we serve, is it profiting from us being a part of it? Is the world profiting from us having our business? What would the world miss out on if we did not have our business? So like if you really want to contextualize the word profit, then you have to expand beyond just a financial metric.
And that, I think again, you know, part and parcel to the question Keith brought to us is even the state of, well, I agree, by the way, 100% with everything you've just said, and really starts to, you know, make you think about what other ways can we measure progress and success in our organization, and how can we actually help our people recognize their own individual progress by you know, how they're making, you know, how they're personally making progress toward their, you know, their goals. But and I should say the core concept here is that progress moves us into more of a state of well-being, right, as human beings. So as we're making, you know, I've actually heard this definition of, you know, success as, you know, meaningful progress or measurable progress toward a meaningful goal, right? And so, and that in and of itself feels like success, you know, in our system, and it gives us that sense of well-being, like we're actually contributing, and, you know, we're doing, you know, we're being productive. So, you know, I think you know, it's a matter of, you know, we can measure actually, you know, how well and how quote unquote profitable or successful our businesses are by the depth and sense of well-being within our teams, and you know, how our people actually feel, to your point, like at home or safe, you know, in working in our teams. Does that make sense? Or are you what are your thoughts on it?
I just want to expand on that. When you think about that whole safe workplace framework that we encourage all our clients to have. So when Kevin raised the question, when he said, like, we think they go hand in hand. Well, we know that well-being, the safer your people feel at work, and not pillows and blankets safety,
right?
But like right, when you think about safe, it's an acronym for us, right? So do they feel seen? Do you, you know, can you see me? Like, am I for who I am and what I bring to the table?
Right.
Do you acknowledge my talents and abilities that I have? Then do you have faith in my ability to do the job that you hired me to do? And then are you going to evolve while I'm here and become more of what I'm capable of? So when they feel seen, they feel acknowledged, that they know you have faith in them and they're evolving. Our people in our organizations, they feel safe, and that this is a place where I can bring my best self to work and become more of what I'm capable of. You hired me to do a job, and instead of telling me what to do, when to do it, how to do it, who to do it with, and telling me what to think all the time. You're allowing me to think for myself.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that you start to have faith in me, and you create learning and coaching moments for me. Right.
Yeah.
And you acknowledge my existence, that I'm here because you're asking for my input. We're getting people involved in the work, involved in decisions about the work. Right.
See,
we're dedicating outcomes to people, not tasks to people.
mm-hmm.
So this is what creates well-being. It's not just like, hey, our people have a gym membership,
Right.
We massage therapist to come in once a week, and are we having a sound room or a meditation center? That's not well-being. It's like when people say culture is beanbag and foosball tables. That's not culture. No. Well-being is the totality of the human being, and creating an environment where they can bring their best self to work and express themselves freely and become even more well.
Yeah.
And that's what will drive.
I again, agree, and that's been my personal experience as well. I do find that it is interesting if you apply that SAFE framework, and really increase the the level of engagement. What it actually does is, it's not an instantaneous fix. This is my own personal experience, but it provides the space for individuals to be able to make the connection on their own between their own personal values and your vision and values. And so, to connect their purpose with your purpose. And I find every time, and this is my own personal experience, every time that I've found that connection, I've had, stratospheric success. And every time that I cannot find that connection, it's a recipe for, it's the minute I'm hired is the minute I start to look for my next job. Right. I mean, it's, not quite that bad, but I give the example. I've worked for a gentleman who, a year into our engagement, I realized this was not going to work, and it took me another year to exit, but that was a year wasted basically for both of us, and I feel bad about that, but that's the reality of for most of us, and most employees, they find themselves looking for the next thing, while they're just punching the clock for you. So something, Anyway,
and you and I know we both know what it feels like to have done that. We've had careers and times where we felt like that, and so we know then, and I know yourself, I know you and I would probably be very similar cloth, that we would still bring our best self as best we can in the environment which we can do it in, because it's just who we are as people. But guarantee those organizations did not get the best out of me.
No.
I brought my best to the, and so when you think about this, organizations, let's go really commercial. Let's get back to the profit side of things here.
Okay.
When you think about let's go really commercial in this one. So the business economic heads here can understand this. Payroll is the largest recurring expense in most organizations. People are not. Payroll is.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So payroll, this is an expense we have in our profit and loss statement. And so we're paying for 100% to have those people here. Mm-hmm. So if you're paying for 100% that person here based on what you've agreed in terms of fair work and all that sort of stuff, and that person's agreed to work for that.
Right.
Yet I guarantee you'd be lucky if you're getting 50% of the true potential out of that human being for the 100% that you're paying for.
Right.
Because you don't have the right frameworks in place. You don't have an engaging sense of purpose. You don't empower them to make smarter decisions. They don't have something to believe in, someone who believes in them, and someone they can believe in terms of that. And then that safe framework where they can actually, and where they have the well-being, they might have well-doing set up, but not well-being set up.
Right.
So they can do well, but not be well. And when you can bring your best self and become more what you're capable of, and you create that environment, you're going to tap into that latent talent and ability that's laying dormant that you're already paying for in your business right now. And this is why people talk about the war for talent. And I always say everyone's looking at the war for talent. Like, how do we track that? I said, the war for talent starts inside your business, not outside your business. Because you're not even tapping into what's already here.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. That's here because you don't have an organization set up for people to flourish here, that feel that they can excel here, that they can belong here. Right? Do people want to, as I said before, do they see themselves being here for a long time? Do they belong here? If they do, they'll bring their best self, they'll contribute more and more. And this is where we get people who go beyond.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But if you don't have that, then don't complain when you're not getting the results that you would hope to get, because you're letting that person be their best.
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably an ecosystem structure in your organization, not an ecosystem where we have all around leadership. You have top down leadership. You're squashing people, and basically we know that it's
a
like
ceiling.
this. And when this happens, when this happens, either the ceiling pushes down or people decide to exit, because people don't leave organizations; they leave leaders and managers.
Right.
And then what is that going to be profitability when you have high turnover rates?
No.
You know what the current? I don't have the stats on what the current turnover, the cost of turnover is in an organization.
I don't have the actual number, but
I don't know what the exact stats are. That if anybody knows, please post it in the comments.
Yeah, it's really expensive to have continual turnover.
If it's not 50 or 70 grand in a 12-month period, for the average employee, multiply that times how many people are depending on your organization.
Yep. Right? Yeah. Plus time, productivity lost in training, and then all sorts of different other hidden profit implications as well. So from the purely commercial perspective, I do think though, I've run across a philosophy recently that if you want to earn more, be more, right? If you want to so how does an organization, coming back full circle to the top of our conversation, how does an organization become worth more, create more value, solve bigger, more important and pressing problems? It has to be on purpose, right?
Yes.
It has to be, right? There's no other way to do it. If you're copying somebody, if you're copying a competitor, when the market shifts, you'll be left without the stability to be able to innovate and to keep evolving. So
and I think that so Collin, with that, when you're thinking about so right now everyone's all got the AI hype, right? So talk about competitive advantage, right? So you're saying there is wow, this is so cool. If you think about creating that value for your clients, and where does the value come from in the increasing the value of your business and what it can offer.
Yeah. Right.
Everyone's so focused on AI right now because I think it can improve costs, profitability and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Right. And because we all know, the gurus have all told us now, Collin, if your business won't lose to AI, but it'll lose to a competitor or somebody else using AI, right? Okay, so AI helps you retain a competitive position, but it is not a competitive advantage.
No.
What you said a minute ago is actually what the competitive advantage is. The competitive advantage is your ability to capture the spirit of your people. That is your one true sustainable competitive advantage, because the organization that wins every time is the one that outbehaves the other. What drives behavior is how we think determines how we act. So if we can allow our people to have the freedom to think in our organizations, they can be creative and innovative and come up with new ways to add value to our clients. Because here's the thing for people. If you want to add more value to your customers, you have to start anticipating the future needs of your customers, or anticipate not having future customers. You have to be thinking about your customers' customers. What's happening to our customers' customers? And then what's going to happen to them, so then how can we be best service to them? If we do not allow our people to do that, AI can't think that. We can use AI to help us explore that and expand and extrapolate all that. But it's going to come down to the human beings that are going to drive that value in your business.
Right. Yep. And human beings need a reason why. We need a reason why, right? I mean, it's part of our survival mechanism. So,
And so when we do engagement surveys with our clients all around the world, there's one common trend that comes up all the time, right? And when we look at the engagement, the least engaged employees are the ones who have the most problem with remuneration and benefits.
Yep.
So the lower the engagement score, the higher the disgruntledness is with how much they get paid.
Right.
Why is that? Because I want to be paid for my misery. Right. If you're paying them fair work and market and all that sort of stuff, and you see people who are highly engaged don't complain anywhere near as much about their remuneration and benefits, but the people who are most disengaged do, because I don't get paid enough to put up with this shit. Right.
Right. Yeah.
So paying people more doesn't help your profitability, but fixing the problem of actually why they're unhappy here.
Yeah.
Right. Because they're not engaged here will solve the problem. So paying them more is not the answer, because you'll pay them more and guess what? They'll still leave because you haven't fixed the right problem. When we think money is the answer to our problems, we're working on the wrong problems.
Right. Yeah.
right? So that's what impacts profitability and employee well-being. And I know we're at half an hour already. Holy crap, time flies when we're having fun, Collin.
Yes, it does. Maybe for our next call, carrying on this theme, like talk about adding value by removing what's unnecessary as that concept. Because as we were talking about this, I was starting to think about, really it's not about adding more complexity to your business. It's actually about simplifying your business. It's about simplifying your approach. And when you can do that, then actually you can be more intentional and more purpose driven, right? Around, how you're organizing your teams, how you're instrumenting your teams, how you're supporting and building those teams, attracting that right talent. So maybe next time we can talk a little more about that.
Okay, so next week on It's Time to Lead Different, and together we can evolve the world of work. We're going to talk about how to add value by removing things that don't, and how to free up the complexity to increase that value, not only to your clients, but to your teams and to your business.
Amen.
By leading. All right, guys. Thanks very much, Collin. Thank you again for sharing your wisdom with us and your insights, mate. Really appreciate that, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time on It's Time to Lead Different.